Welcome to the latest episode of Articulate Thoughts, a personal blog of mine where I share some thoughts, ideas, experiences, and observations about conscious dance, which is a movement practice that uses dance as a form of moving meditation. And today's theme or topic of discussion is strengthening intuition. And I just want to preface the whole topic of discussion with an analogy that I kind of experienced in the past few days, and I just had this like, intuitive thing. Like I think throughout my life, I've just been a very highly emotional person, and I've always had that intuition, that awareness of my intuition. But earlier in my life, I was much more logic based, and even though I could identify and I was aware of what I was feeling, I didn't really allow myself to make decisions based on those feelings because my logical mind would weigh out the pros and the cons and just say, listen, this is not a good idea because A, B, C, D, D. And then, just I never really gave myself the freedom to trust my intuition. And that started changing about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's been really, really great. I produced some phenomenal results. I'm feeling really great about my life and the direction it's going in, and I just feel continuing to trust intuition is a good idea. That's not to say that I just blindly follow whatever my feelings tell me, but I'm listening to them a lot more than I used to. So giving a lot more credence and credibility, and it's very easy to believe in something and give credit to something that's producing good results. So my analogy of feeling, so I just had this feeling of I wanted to be free of this agreement that I had. I engaged in an agreement back in December that would last up into May or June. And basically, the agreement was that I was going to go and clean a dance studio, and in exchange, I get dance classes. And at the time, I was a little bit iffy with my finances, and I just needed some kind of opportunity where I could attend these dance classes and ensure that I would have the funds to support that. But my situation's changed, and I felt like, man, I value my time a lot more. And I was going back and forth in my mind, like, I had this agreement, I have to honor it, but it just didn't feel good for me. So, I went to this person I had the agreement with and acknowledged, listen, I have a different situation, and these are my needs, and this is what I'm doing. And I just kind of left a little bit of a leeway, like saying, I know it's unexpected notice, so if there's anything that is an emergency and you absolutely need me to step in and help out, then I will. And it was well received, and a lot of love was reciprocated. And I think, a lot of respect was there because I was able to honor my needs and communicate that. So there was a release from that, and then from that time that opened up because I didn't have that agreement anymore. I was able to manifest an experience that I was kind of floating around with. I had this idea of looking at frozen waterfalls, and the weather's kind of warming up, but kind of not really. And I work in a restaurant, and a lot of people, talk about the weather, and for the vast majority, there's been a lot of complaints about the weather lately, saying it's April, why is it still snowing, why is it still -10? And then I'm just like, I just try to put a positive spin on it, and personally, I get sucked into feeling that way because I'm very, emotional. I get pulled into it, and there's a part of me that does want spring to just come and things to warm up, but I think deep down, I'm just kind of, respecting and honoring the pace that Mother Nature's setting. It's just, she's just doing her thing, and spring's going to come eventually, and it's going to be great. But for now, I'm just kind of enjoying it for what it is. And so Monday, the space opened up, and I was able to go see a frozen waterfall. It was a very spontaneous, in the moment type of thing, and it worked out pretty good. So basically, my whole point about intuition, I feel like over the past couple of years, I've been able to strengthen my intuition just by the virtue of me doing conscious dance, like being on a dance floor and listening to a rhythm of a beat or a song, and just kind of move along with it and think, oh, this is what it feels like to feel good. And then, when I'm kind of moving off beat or just kind of off sync, this is what it feels like to be, feeling a little bit bad. So like, and I think it's such a subtle thing that happened over time, but because, I was dancing like 2, 3 times a week, it's just something that was integrated more and more deeply. And I do acknowledge that, like, right off the bat, I did have like a genetic disposition for tuning into my emotions and feelings, but I think it takes a lot of time and work to really embrace them and listen to them wholeheartedly, because I live in a reality that's so logic based, and it's a lot of physicality involved. So when I have to explain why I'm doing something, like, oh, it just feels good, and then it doesn't really sound that, convincing, or that logical, or doesn't make that much sense on the surface. But deep down, I know what makes sense in terms of feelings. And because I've been trusting this intuition, and if this feels a certain way, I make this kind of decision, and it's been producing this type of result, it's kind of hard for me to kind of go back to my old ways that wasn't producing positive results. So if there's any reason for anyone to kind of try out conscious dance or to continue conscious dance or do more of it, I would say strengthening your intuition is a good reward or payoff for consistently being involved in conscious dance. And I'm not saying conscious dance is the only way to access this, but just moving the body and just understanding what feels good in the body could do the same thing and produce similar results. So that's my thought on that topic, and I'd like to thank you for listening if you've gotten this far. And inshallah, let's meet on the dance floor.